Hello, I'm Julian Worricker, BBC radio presenter for both the BBC World Service and domestically BBC Radio 4. Lots of challenges lie ahead for the BBC this year, and obviously I can't talk about the commercial sector, but have a bit of a sense of what the BBC faces, particularly in news terms. Financially, there's been confirmation from the government that the licence fee, that's how the BBC is financed in the UK, that's going to be held at its current level for the next 2 years, so there won't be any rise in that licence fee, which means inevitably a reduction in the amount of money given inflation that the BBC is going to have to spend, and that might have a bearing on its news coverage as well as on other departments. So that's a challenge for the management that I don't get involved with. I don't envy them the task, but they've got some difficult decisions to make as far as that's concerned. In news terms, I think there are three things that strike me as important looking ahead. One of them is the ongoing challenge that the, quote, mainstream media has when it comes to continuing credibility and cutting through, because those of us who work in it believe passionately in the fact that we are trying to be accurate and impartial and convey the important information to people in the way that we have for so many years. But I think we clearly have to recognise that there are lots of other sources of information now, many of them online, that people are flocking to, that may be unreliable, that may be trying to spin a particular point of view. And if people buy into those, then that is becoming quite difficult and quite a challenge for the BBC. So we've got to continue, as part of the mainstream media, to cut through, to prove that our reliance, our dedication to accuracy, impartiality, clarity, and all of those things that matter so much to us, that they continue to cut through. I'd like to think that during the global pandemic, which let's hope during 2022 begins to dissipate a little in terms of its impact, I'd like to think that what the BBC has done throughout this period is prove just how important we have been, and certainly domestically people have turned to the BBC at particular points during the pandemic because they've clearly wanted that source of what they see as reliable information. We've got to continue to cut through on that front. We've got to continue to tell the story of climate change in a way that people can find accessible. I think the problem with telling the climate change story is that inevitably it is a story that moves very slowly, because climate change moves very slowly, and therefore to engage people with it on a day-by-day basis is quite difficult. Again, you've got that challenge of some voices on various other platforms that might deny it or seriously contest elements of what's being said by the vast majority of scientists. So we've got to get that right and try and find a way of engaging with our audience on radio and television that will keep them interested and involved in that story. And then the challenge for any mainstream organisation, not just the BBC, is that we've got to be finding a way to continue to engage with younger audiences and more diverse audiences. When you look at the figures, when you look at the tendency now for our audiences to be a little older rather than younger, and perhaps to some of the BBC's channels less diverse, we've got to do something about that, which is about who we employ, who is in charge, who we put on air, how we communicate, how we're aware of issues right across the board, culturally. Such a big challenge, and each one of us as individuals, the onus is on us obviously to educate ourselves better so that we get that right more often. But I think that's a big challenge for all of us working in BBC News. I don't doubt there are many other things that I could have mentioned, but those are the things that strike me as being particularly important when we look forward to the rest of 2022. I don't doubt others who contribute to this will have plenty of other different things to say, and some of them might even disagree with me, but that's where I stand. Good luck.